Howdy folks, I was at the grocery store the other day and I saw red currants. Now I do not usually see these at the grocery store, so I grabbed them. Today we're gonna make a red currant syrup, also known as Groseille Syrup. Certainly pronouncing that wrong, but we got a couple of drinks to make. Let's do it. So let me show you what I did to make this syrup. I found a recipe on Difford's Guide, which I roughly followed. I took my red currants. Now they say to use a fork to get the red currant berries off of the stem. I found my fingers worked quite well. Getting all these berries off here did turn out to be pretty tedious, but I managed it. I ended up with 185 grams of red currants. I muddled that in the bottom of the pot with 125 grams of sugar and 100 grams of water. I boiled that for 5 minutes and then simmered it for 10. The worry with red currants apparently is that they have a lot of pectin, and so you don't want that to turn your syrup into a jelly. I believe the 5 minutes of boiling is to prevent the pectin from setting up, though I am not a pectin expert. Now I ended up with about 150 milliliters or so of syrup. Not a ton, but we don't need a ton. I added about a 1/4 ounce of vodka just to help preserve it, and supposedly that also helps prevent it from, turning into a jelly. Now Anders Ericsson, you remember him. He made Groseille syrup from red currant concentrate, and he also added rose water to his because that's what he puts in his grenadine. I had the same thought, but I used orange blossom water in mine because that's what I use in my grenadine. Honestly, I don't think it made a huge impact. You know what? Let's just give this red currant syrup a little taste. It does have a beautiful color, I'll give it that. It's not super sweet. It's pretty tart, but all that cooking, it has a sort of cooked fruit flavor. It's got, sort of like a jelly or a jam maybe. It's not like a fresh fruit, not a fresh bright fruit flavor, so I don't know. I'm not really detecting the orange blossom water a whole lot. I was hoping that would brighten it up a little bit. I don't know, it's okay. It's a pretty good syrup. And if you're wondering, yes, I did soak the Dunnings in overproof white rum and vodka to make a quick liqueur. Now, Groseille syrup is not called for in a lot of drinks, but one that I have actually made before is called the 1920 cocktail. Now, I made this before when I was trying to figure out things to do with Kirschwasser. Go watch that video if you're curious. When I made it before, I didn't have this red currants. I used Fasanola syrup, and it came out pretty good. But we have red currants now. We can do it properly. Let's mix it up. Okay, we did it. The 1920 cocktail. Let's see how this is. It's possible I don't love this cocktail. I like it all right. It's a little fruity. In principle, I like a vermouth-based cocktail, but I think these days I have not been into dry vermouth. It's got a certain sour quality to it that just hasn't been turning me on lately. This drink it's a little bit thin, I guess. Not getting a ton of the Groseille flavor. Otherwise it's all right. It's nicely balanced. It's not super sweet. I don't know. I might turn down the vermouth, turn up the cherry Kirschwasser, maybe turn up the Groseille a little bit. I don't know. It's not the most interesting thing. I know this is the second time I made it. I'm not sure that this, red currant syrup is an improvement over the Fasanola I used last time, so I don't know. Looks great though. Now, the other drink that calls for Groseille Syrup is the artist special. This is what Anders likes to make with it, and so we're gonna give it a try. It's basically a whiskey sour with sherry added and Groseille Syrup for the sweetener. In the Savoy, it just says whiskey. Saw a version that called for Scotch. On the Difford's Guide, it said to use Irish whiskey. Anders uses bourbon. I decided to use rye because I have a lot of rye at the moment. Stay tuned and subscribe for more about that. And also, there's no rules. I am gonna go with Anders' proportions on this. 1 ounce of rye, 1 ounce of sherry. I believe he used Amontillado, and I've seen Oloroso called for as well. I'm gonna use this Lustau East India Solera. This is a little bit of a sweeter one. It's got some PX mixed in. It's a blend, a little bit sweeter, but not super sweet. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorites. Lemon and our special red currant syrup, of course. Let's mix it up. Okay, success. Let's check this out. It's got a really beautiful red color, which is fantastic. I like this a lot better. A whiskey sour, of course, is impossible not to like. This has got that extra little nuttiness from the sherry, which sort of comes through as an aftertaste. The syrup comes through as like a sort of dusty fruitiness, balanced with the rye and lemon, of course. Whew. Delicious. I'm not getting a ton of that tartness from the syrup, but overall, I'd say this is a solid drink. Okay, conclusions. Groseille Syrup, red currant syrup, if you will. You might be wondering if it's worth the extra trouble to use this rather than grenadine, and honestly, I'm not sure that it is. It's basically just like a fruity, tart syrup, but you can get that from grenadine or even hibiscus. There's a lot of other options that might be easier. Anders used a red currant concentrate to make his, and honestly, that sounds a lot easier. But it is fun to try new stuff, so I'm always down for that, and I have no regrets. Have you got any cocktail ideas for Groseille Syrup? If you do, put them down in the comments. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.